Vanakkam. Greetings to all Indian Forest Service aspirants. Once again, a warm and hearty welcome to all of you to my YouTube channel, Sylva, a ladder to reach canopy. In the previous startup session, I have briefed about the overview of forestry as a professional course and also mentioned about 73 subjects being taught in the 4 years duration course. And majority of these subjects are fairly distributed into two papers in the Indian Forest Service Forestry examination. So this session I am going to cover the details of two papers in the Forest Service mains examination. Let us see one by one in the presentation. As mentioned by me, forestry paper consists of two papers which carries 200 marks each. So every paper is further divided into two sections, section A and B, and each section further divided into four subjects and its combination. So a person completing the forestry option need to cover 16 subjects and its combinations. Let us start seeing each and every section and the associated subjects coming under this. Paper 1 consists of two sections, section A and B. In section A, there are four subjects are part of that, which is purely related to the silviculture. In silviculture, first one is silviculture general. Silviculture is the backbone of forestry. The agronomy is similar to the agriculture. For the forestry, it is the silviculture, and the forestry begins from the silviculture only. So, in simple terms, silviculture is nothing but the art and science of cultivating forest crops. So, a person completing the silviculture general will be covering the fundamental concepts of silviculture, and also two important aspects he will be covering. One is about the conditions existing in natural forest, factors influencing the vegetation, and natural regeneration, which is part of the natural forest and its growth. And second important aspect he or she will be covering is about the nursery, propagation techniques and planting techniques. So it is more or less related to the artificial concept, because creation of forest is a misnomer. So it's creation of plantations or afforestation in the new area. So these things are part of the second important aspect. So this is the nutshell of silviculture general. The next important subject and its combination is about the silviculture system. Silviculture system functions or works purely based on the silviculture principles. So it is nothing but the methodology in which the forest need to be tended, harvested and replaced by new crops. So it's starting from the harvesting till the emergence of new crop. These are part of the silviculture system, and each forest area need a different kind of treatment. So there are different kind of silviculture systems are followed in India according to the types of forest, the species, nature of forest. So we need to study about the different types of silviculture systems followed in our country, so that we will come to know about the complete understanding of this silviculture system, and also about the suitability of the system, like different kinds of forest, the existing vegetation, forest types, topographic and edaphic factors. And after the silviculture system, next important subject is silviculture, mangrove and cold desert. These are the two important and specific ecosystems found in the different locations. Like mangrove is part of the east and western coast of our country, and the cold deserts are mainly found in the western Himalaya. So these two special ecosystems and the strategies to deal with these ecosystems will be covered in the silviculture, mangrove and cold desert. So the unique characteristics of these two ecosystems and the measures also to treat on rehabilitate the ecosystem will be covered here. The next important subject is silviculture of trees. So silviculture characteristic of each and every tree is a very crucial for any kind of forest management. So in this subject we will be studying the silviculture characteristic of 32 important tree species. These are not only the part of natural ecosystem, but also many plantation trees of commercial value also will be covered here. So part of natural forest and other commercial trees of 32 important species in India will be covered in this subject. And also it will be touching about the recent advances taken place in the field of tropical silviculture research. So two important aspects, one is about the silviculture characteristic of 32 important species and the tropical silviculture research about the recent advances. These four subjects are part of section A of paper 1. Next we will be entering into the second section, that is the section B. So again four subjects and its combination of part of this section, starting with the agroforestry, social forestry, joint forest management and tribology. Let us see the details of this subject and its combination. It is about the people and forestry, the role of people in the forest and its conservation, and also about the agroforestry and social forestry in maintaining the ecological balance and to meet out the direct and indirect demands. So how these two systems like agroforestry and social forestry are helping in reducing the pressure of forest and also helping in mitigating the various kind of natural disasters, especially the improvement of indirect benefits. So all these things will be covered in this subject. And the JFM and its concept, that is the joint forest management, when it started and what is the evolution process of this joint forest management and what is the mode of implementing the various principles under this will be covered in this. And the final one is about the tribology, that is about that study of tribals, their culture, their races and their population distribution and ultimately their role in the forest conservation program. So this subject is more or less covering the people and forest, how the historically people are associated with the welfare of forest will be covered here. And the second important subject and its combination in the section B of paper 1 is forest soils, soil conservation and watershed management. This is a very important and the most applied aspect of these various subjects in the syllabus. So the subject name is forest soils, soil conservation and watershed management. The first and foremost thing coming under this subject is about the fundamentals of forest soil. So how the forest soil is very very important. The soil classification, its chemical, physical and biological properties all will be covered in the forest soil. And second important aspect is about the soil conservation. What are the different types of soil conservation methods available in the country, like biological methods, agronomical method and engineering measures. So it will be dealing in the complete details of the various methods and its appropriation in the different area. And finally the watershed management. So the forest is an important watershed. If you take each and every watershed, it will be in the forest area only. So how the forest is functioning as a watershed management, how to treat the watershed will be covered in this subject. This is about the forest soils, soil conservation and watershed management. And the third important subject in the section B of paper 1 is the environment conservation and biodiversity. As everyone is aware about the role of environment conservation in the present day scenario due to the growing challenges and the growing pressure over the natural resources, so this subject is also very very important and most sensitive subject. So we will be studying about the components and importance of environment conservation. The component means about the biotic and abiotic component. It may be a atmosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and the importance of environment conservation. Why environment is so important and why conserving environment is very very crucial for the survival of human beings will be covered in the first aspect. And second important thing is about the impact of human induced activities like various deforestation, forest fire, mining, development activities. These are all the major challenges in the present day system. So this will be covered in the second aspect. A third important aspect is about the various kind of pollution like noise pollution, air pollution and water pollution, and what are the impact it is making to the environment will be covered in the third aspect. And the role of trees and forests in the environmental conservation. There are so many research conducted and which is showing that the trees have a very specific role in combating the different kind of pollution, being it noise pollution or air pollution. So we'll be studying about the trees and its role in mitigating this pollution, and also with the examples. And finally, about the environmental policy and laws in India. So India is known as one of the major country with so many laws to deal with the different kind of pollution and the similar challenges. So we'll be studying about the different laws like Water Pollution, Water Act, Environmental Protection Act, and Air Pollution Act. So we'll be dealt in detail. So this is about the environmental conservation and biodiversity. And the final subject coming under section B is the tree improvement and seed technology. So the similar to the plant breeding in the agriculture, the tree improvement is the in the forestry. So how the forest genetic principles is helping to improve the quality and the quantity, qualitative and quantitative characteristic of trees and the forest will be covered here. So we'll be studying about the general concepts of tree improvement and various methods and techniques used. So similar to the agriculture, we have also similar methodologies like breeding, selection, all these things will be covered here. And about the genetic testing program, how it will be helpful in carrying out the genetic gain over generations, and the selection and breeding for various resistance, which includes the resistance against diseases, pests, and adverse conditions. And about the forest genetic resources and gene conservation. These are nothing but the valuable the material growing in the forest, which have lot of economical and environmental benefits. And also about the gene conservation, there are in situ and ex situ conservation methods are available. So what are the different methods helping in conserving the gene and its resources will be covered here. So this is a nutshell of tree improvement and seed technology. So we are ending with the paper 1. Now we are moving to the paper 2. So coming to the paper 2, again there are two important sections, and section A there are 4 subjects and its combination. We'll start with the forest management and management system. And we'll be studying about the various objectives and the principles of forest management, and also about the sustainable yield and forest management. So the sustainable yield is a very the growing concept in the present day generation, because it will be talking about the protection of interest of future generation. So whatever the present generation is enjoying, we should safeguard the interest of the future generation. So the similar principle is applied in the forest also, so that the growing stock will be retained for the future generation. So how this sustainable yield is practiced in the field, and what are the different methods based on the different area or the type of trees, this yield regulation is calculated. So it's about the mathematical principles, and along with the silviculture principle will be studied in the this method. And finally, with the formation of village forest committee and the joint forestment participatory management, how these things are exactly happening in the field will be covered in the final aspect. So this is about forest management and management systems. And the second important subject in the section A of paper 2 is the forest working plan. So working plan is a very crucial role in any forest management, and which can be easily said as an instrument in forest management. So after completing this subject, a person will be able to understand that how important this document in protecting the nature and the biodiversity conservation. So this will be dealt in detail about the working plan and how the working plan is prepared, and what are the various strategies required to complete the working plan, and who are all part of this working plan preparation. So this is about the forest working plan. And the third important aspect is about the forest mensuration and remote sensing, and this is a very important subject. It's related to the many mathematical calculation and methodologies. So this is very simply a determination of various dimensions of individual trees on the whole stand. So not only talking about the measurement of single tree, but also the stand, also the whole stand means the group of trees also. So the various measurements used to be find out in this mensuration is the diameter of the tree, height, volume, and form factor. So all the methodologies will be covered here. And also we will be studying about the sampling methods and about the sampling plot, why sampling plots are used, and why this is so important in the various forest measurements. And finally, the most advanced technology, that is about the remote sensing, and how the remote sensing and GIS play a very very important role in the monitoring the forest cover, especially the change in forest cover, how periodically these tools are available in helping to monitor the forest cover. So this paper is more or less a very technical in nature compared to the other subject. And final subject in the section A of paper 2 is the surveying and forest engineering. And what are the different surveying methods available in the forestry, and also about the maps and its reading, how to read the map, also will be covered here. And in the engineering aspect, we will be studying about the designing and construction of buildings and roads and bridges, and the bridges include the timber bridges also. So we finished about the section A of paper 2, and we are entering into the final paper or the final section, that is the section B of paper 2. So again divided into 4 subjects and its combination. So we'll start with the forest ecology and ethnobotany. So forest ecology and ethnobotany, there are 4 different aspects are covered. One is about the fundamentals of forest ecology. Ecology is nothing but the interaction of the various components in the ecosystem, given ecosystem. And we'll be studying about the forest ecosystem, the succession, how the change of vegetation is taking place from one time to another time, and the climax is nothing but the final vegetation taken place in the given area, and also about the nutrient cycling. So this will be covered in the first aspect. And the second important aspect is about the forest types in India and the species identification. As per the champion and set classification, there are so many forest types are divided. So how these forest types are divided and what are the peculiar vegetation available in this area will be covered here. And in the role ethnobotany, the important about the role of ethnobotany, we have a different systems of medicine like Siddha, Ayurveda and Unani. So many medicine systems are there. Also about the indigenous technical knowledge. So all these things will be covered along with the important medicinal plants and how each and every system of medicine is functioning and curing in various ailments. And finally, with the introduction and a detailed study of the important medicinal and aromatic plants. And the second important aspect is about the forest resources and utilization. So this is about the utilization, as utilization is talking about the 2 important aspects. One is about the timber and non-timber forest products. These 2 are the part of this utilization. And in the major timber products, we will be studying about how the wood is harvested, how it is stored, and how the sale is taking place. We will be also studying about the timber depot also. So in major timber, the another important aspect is about the composite wood, about the plywood and related items, and also about the wood seasoning and preservation, how these technologies or the techniques are helpful in improving the durability of the wood. So all these techniques along with its advantages will be covered in the third aspects. And the NTFP, after the major timber product, the second important aspect is about the non-timber forest product. So there is a typical classification of NTFP in our country, like fiber, flosses, tans, dyes, resins, and the scope of NTFP, how it is playing an important role in the various aspects like improvement of tribal welfare and meeting the various demands, and how the NTFPs are collected in the field and how it is stored, and ultimately the disposal mechanism. So these 2 important aspects about the NTFP and the timber, major timber, will be covered in the forest resources and its utilization. And the third important subject in the section B is about the forest protection and wildlife biology. So we will be studying about the protection of forest, when what kind of the injuries may happen to the forest by 2 important sources. One is about the biotic and abiotic. So in the general forest protection and fire, its impact and the control measures also will be studied in detail. And also about the role of afforestation in the carbon dioxide absorption. Nowadays we are all talking about the carbon sequestration and all. So we will be studying about the carbon dioxide sequestration and how the forest is helping in sequestering the carbon will be studied here. And another important aspect about the grazing and its types like rotational grazing and what are the major impact of the grazing over the forestry regeneration, and also about the control strategy. So this subject is mainly about the injuries happening to the forest by human beings like abiotic and abiotic components. And finally, about the forest economics and legislation, the important and the final subjects coming under the paper 2 of section B, forest economics and legislation. So here we will be studying about the fundamentals of forest economic and its principle, cost benefit, estimation of demand and supply, and analysis of trend, especially in the national and international trade of timber and its relative products will be studied here. And the second important aspect is about the valuation of goods and services, which is the growing important in the recent years, the indirect benefits and its calculation. Because most of the countries are now started adopting or started calculating the indirect benefits from the forest area, so that the benefits again can be plowed back to the welfare of the forest. So that is the ultimate aim of doing this calculation. And finally, with the different types of legislation enacted in the country, including the forest policies like 1894, 1952, and 1988, and the various laws pertaining to forest, wildlife, and its conservation. So this is the nutshell of the forestry syllabus, like two papers with 4 sections and 16 subjects and its combination. So, dear aspirants, that's all about the syllabus of forestry with reference to the Indian Forest Service mains examination of Union Public Service Commission. I try to give the salient features of each and every subject which are part of this syllabus. And the next session onwards, I will be taking the individual subject and its syllabus in detail. If you have any doubts or queries, let me know in the comment section below. So thank you very much for watching the video. Hope it will be of use to you, and we'll meet you in the next session for the individual subject and its details. Thank you very much, and the best wishes to all of you. Sylva, a ladder to reach canopy. Andi Vanakkam.